Street, straight from the heart.
My name is Janet, and this is my daughter Mariah before her trichotillomania surfaced. When she was 9, I noticed one day that she was missing her eyelashes. A few weeks later, her eyebrows were gone too. In the months following, her scalp hair started to thin out until noticeable bald spots were showing. Our pediatrician told Mariah to just stop pulling. But I believed our child when she said she just couldn't stop, that her hands were drawn almost magnetically to her face and head, and that the urges to pull were overwhelming. With much research, we eventually learned that this baffling disorder had a name, trichotillomania, and that many others around the world share her struggle. This is my daughter's story, and the story of others in her support group here in Southern California as they battle this closet disorder with the hard-to-pronounce name. This is what Mariah and her friends want you to know, not just about trichotillomania, but about themselves. These words are straight from their hearts.
I started pulling almost a year ago, and I pull from right here, like on the left side of my head, and in the back and in the front. It's hard with school because you can't do a lot. You can't jump around if you have like a wig on, and you can't slide down poles and go crazy. And it's hard to go swimming. With family, you can't run around. And it's really hard to participate in some things. It's very addictive, and you can't just stop. It's a very hard thing to go through, and if you have it, you would know. It's hard.
A person with trichotillomania battles an intense impulse to pull out their own hair, either from the head, eyebrows, eyelashes, beard, or any other body hair. Trichotillomania was once thought to be rare, but in fact, it is a very common problem. Conservative estimates are approximately 2% of the population, or roughly 1 person out of 50. At 5.5 million people, that's more than enough to populate both the cities of Los Angeles and Philadelphia.
Well, it's like, let's say it's a car and it's going fast. It's really easy to stop the car, but it's when you're pulling, it's like you're just driving in that car and you can't stop it. You could, but it's hard to stop. You have to try hard. Someone that doesn't have trich might think, oh, she can stop, she just doesn't want to, but it's hard to stop, and that's it.
Trichotillomania is a neurobiological behavioral disorder, possibly in the spectrum of obsessive-compulsive disorders, although some think it is more of a tic disorder, like Tourette syndrome, where the behavior is considered involuntary. Whatever its scientific category, it is a disorder with a huge human cost for its sufferers. For children in particular, the innocence of childhood is often lost amidst the ridicule and lack of compassion among their peers who simply don't understand trichotillomania.
At school, it makes a difference because everyone would make fun of me for it because of this one girl named Ashley. She saw me doing it once at school, and she told all the kids at class, and everyone laughed and made fun of me at recess.
People with trichotillomania are not trying to injure themselves or to purposely damage their appearance. They are not necessarily anxious or troubled, except by their disorder. However, life can become increasingly challenging living with trichotillomania.
At school, I've noticed I've been starting to pull while my teacher is talking in class, and I've been missing some math. So I'm doing poorly in math.
During class, sometimes I don't pay attention, and I need to get my information from someone else, so it's kind of hard to get all my stuff that I need. And sometimes the teacher asks me what I'm doing, but then I just tell her I'm just dozing off or something, because I don't want to tell her I pulled my hair because it's embarrassing, so.
In the beginning, my parents did not understand, and it was hard because it's like I'd have to, do it in secret and stuff, and it would really hurt me when they would say, well, can't you just stop? Or, if you do it again, I'm going to punish you, I'll ground you or something like that.
Beyond baldness or missing eyelashes and eyebrows, the cosmetic damage caused by trichotillomania can be devastating to a person's self-image and self-esteem. And the emotional weight of knowing you've done this to yourself can be overwhelming. Most people with trichotillomania carry heavy loads of shame and self-blame.
You want to die. You do want to kill yourself because you don't know why you're doing what you do. There's no answer. You can't just stop pulling. It's extremely, extremely hard because your hair, your hands are always with you. You could get rid of the tweezers that you pull with or any other tool that you pull with, but you cannot take away your hands, your fingers. It really is not that unusual, as people put it. There's 6 to 8 million people in the US that have it, and it seems that everyone knows about bipolar disorder, and yet there's only 2.3 million in the US. So how can that be? I think it's just not discussed enough. And some people think, oh yeah, you pull out your hair, it's just something you do. But it's not when it affects you, such as your dating life. Because how can you go from looking in the mirror like this to then this? I've pulled all here, and there may be red spots, and you just keep pulling and it feels even better. And then it's the after effect that, what have I done?
There is no cure for trichotillomania at this time. There are, however, treatment options that have helped many people. Although antidepressant and anti-anxiety medications are sometimes prescribed, most people find they are mainly helpful to the extent they allow the person to engage in other strategies. Cognitive behavioral therapy involves retraining the brain to follow new patterns, often using manipulatives to help a person manage the impulse to pull. Most people with trichotillomania have tried many different types of therapy at different points in their lives. Some have been able to stop pulling, but still continue to struggle at some level for many years. Here is my 11-year-old daughter, Mariah.
I started pulling when I was in 3rd grade, when I was 9, I think. And I pull from my head, my eyebrows, and my eyelashes. At school, I'm like the only one at school that's wearing a hat or something, and we're not really allowed to wear them at school. So, everyone's always asking, and oh, you're not supposed to wear that, that sort of thing. It's uncomfortable. I can't really go swimming that much unless it's at somebody's house that already knows about it, or something like that. It's not that easy. And it makes me feel really bad because, I don't know, just not being able to be normal. It's really hard to deal with life when you have it.
Support groups are an invaluable way for people with trichotillomania to gain help on the road to recovery. 6 months ago, we found a support group for Mariah with other children and teenagers who share her struggle. The director started the group so that no young child with this disorder will ever have to suffer in silence, alone, like she did for decades.
My name is Noelani. I'm 40 years old. I started pulling when I was 13, so I've been pulling for 27 years. And I pull exclusively from the top of my scalp. Trich has affected every part of my life. I actually kept my hair pulling secret from my husband for 13 years of our relationship, so I only told him about it 7 or 8 years ago. Therefore, it was like being married to somebody that you love deeply and yet keeping this huge secret from them and being so ashamed and thinking in a weird way that he would leave me if he knew that I pulled out my hair. So that's how deep Trick ran for me in terms of self-esteem, thinking that people would actually despise me or reject me if they knew that I pulled out my own hair. I was very involved with people and they didn't know this deep, dark side of me. And so everywhere I went, I'm always fussing to make sure my secret is covered up. If I could just stop pulling, I would not be pulling today. I would have stopped when I was 13 with the first hair. I want the word to get out there that people do pull out their hair. They don't need to be ashamed of it, and there is help and there is support. And maybe along those lines, just find the clip here, just to show you the effect that it's had on me. Take out my Hawaiian flower. But this is where I pull from, which is exclusively on the scalp, so I have a little hair piece to give height. But I pull from the crown, and this is not an uncommon look for people with trichotillomania, to have the crown missing, so it kind of has the monk look. And so this is where I have a hard time keeping my hands out of. But if you have trichotillomania and you're out there watching this, I also want you to know that there is hope, there's a lot of support, and you're not alone.
For more information, visit www.trick.org for the Trichotillomania Learning Center website, or call them at 831-457-1004. Thank you for taking the time to watch this message from my daughter and her new friends. Trust me when I tell you that it truly comes straight from the heart.
I'll hold your hand, you'll hold my heart. We'll race to see what life's about. And if we fall, we'll stand again. No matter what, I'll be your friend. No matter what, I'll be your friend. And together we will walk this road. We'll shoulder one another's load. And all I'll give you, every part, will be straight, straight from the heart. And all I've shown you, every part, has been straight, straight from